everyone. Welcome back to Prime Wealth. We're so glad you're joining us today.
Yeah, welcome. It's great to have you here.
So today we're diving into something really exciting, a print-on-demand business guide. I mean, it's such a cool way to start a side hustle, right?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic opportunity for anyone looking to get creative and earn some extra income, especially if you're over 40 and maybe thinking about a new chapter in life.
Exactly. And it's not just about the money. It's about finding something you're passionate about, too.
Right, and the beauty of print on demand is that you don't need a huge upfront investment. You can start small and scale as you go.
Yeah, so in this episode, we'll cover how to get started, the pros and cons of print on demand, and some practical tips to make it work for you.
And we'll also talk about how to market your products effectively, which is key. You want to reach the right audience, right?
Definitely. And we'll share some success stories that might inspire you.
I think hearing about what others have achieved can be really motivating.
For sure. So if you're curious about starting your own print-on-demand business, stick around. We've got lots of useful info coming your way.
All right, let's jump right in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Prime Wealth. Today we're diving into something really interesting, the world of print-on-demand businesses.
Yeah, it's a topic that's gaining a lot of traction, especially for folks over 40. It's a unique opportunity that can really fit into this stage of life.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people in this age group are thinking about, well, what's next? Maybe they're looking for a side hustle or even a full-time gig that allows for more flexibility, right?
Absolutely. And the beauty of print on demand is that it's relatively low risk. You don't have to invest heavily up front, which is a big concern for many people, especially when they're looking at their savings and retirement plans.
Right. I think that's so important to highlight. You're not stuck with a huge inventory that you might not sell. It's all about creating and selling designs as orders come in, which is, a lot less stressful.
And it's particularly relevant now because many people over 40 are experiencing significant life changes. Maybe they've just become empty nesters or are approaching retirement. They might be thinking about how to generate some extra income, or even pivoting to a new career altogether.
Yeah, and let's not forget the emotional aspect here. A lot of folks might feel a bit lost after decades in one career, right? Starting something new can be both exciting and daunting.
Exactly, and print on demand can serve as a creative outlet too. It's a way to express yourself while also making money on the side. I've seen clients find a passion they didn't know they had. And it's really rewarding to see them thrive in that.
Speaking of passion, I remember talking to a listener who started a print-on-demand business creating motivational mugs and t-shirts. She said it was a way to channel her love for personal development into something tangible.
That's a perfect example. And she probably found a community too. Many people, especially in this age group, value connection, and running a print-on-demand business can lead to meeting like-minded individuals.
Totally. And with platforms like Etsy or Redbubble, you can reach customers globally. It's really democratized the marketplace. You don't need a huge marketing budget to get started.
Right, and speaking of trends, did you know that the print-on-demand market is expected to grow significantly in the next few years? It's projected to reach several $billions. That's a big deal for someone looking to get in now.
Wow, that's impressive. It's like being in the right place at the right time, isn't it? And for those over 40, this is an opportunity to tap into a growing market without the fear of overwhelming costs.
For sure, and I think it's also about the mindset shift. Many people in their 40s and beyond have a wealth of experience and skills. They just need to realize that they can leverage that into something new and exciting.
That's a great point. It's about recognizing your value and how it translates into new ventures. Plus, there's this element of flexibility that's really appealing. You can work from home or wherever you want, really.
Yes, and that flexibility can be a game changer, especially for those who might still be working full-time or have other commitments. You can build this business at your own pace.
And even if it starts as a side hustle, it can grow into something more substantial. I've seen people turn their print-on-demand shops into full-time businesses, which is really inspiring.
Definitely. And it's not just about the financial aspect. It's also about the fulfillment that comes from creating something from scratch. It's empowering,
Totally. And let's not forget that for many people over 40, This could be a way to leave behind jobs that may not be as fulfilling anymore. It's like reclaiming some control over your career and your life.
Exactly. And as we've talked about before, having multiple income streams is so important as we age. It provides a safety net and a sense of security.
Yeah, and if you can build something you love while doing that, it's even better. It's a win-win situation, right?
Right. And there's also the aspect of legacy. Many people start thinking about what they want to leave behind, and a print-on-demand business can become a part of that legacy, something to pass on to kids or grandkids.
Ah, that's such a beautiful thought. It's like creating something that represents you and your values, something that can inspire future generations.
Exactly. And with the right strategies and tools, anyone can get started.
So as we transition into discussing some core strategies for starting a print-on-demand business, let's keep in mind all these important factors: the emotional benefits, the financial flexibility, and the potential for personal growth.
Absolutely. I think those are the foundations that can really motivate anyone over 40 to take that leap. Let's dive into the specifics.
So today, Alex, we're diving into the world of print-on-demand businesses. It's such an exciting topic, right?
Absolutely, Jordan. Print-on-demand can be a great way to start a business with relatively low risk. It's appealing because you don't have to hold inventory.
Right, I've heard that's one of the biggest advantages. So where do we start? What's the first step someone should take?
Well, the first step is really to identify your niche. You want to find a market that you're passionate about, something that resonates with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, if you love hiking, maybe you'd create designs for outdoor enthusiasts?
Exactly. And once you have your niche, you want to research your audience. Understand what they like, what they need, and how you can fill that gap.
So maybe look at social media or forums where your target audience hangs out.
Yes, exactly. Platforms like Instagram or Facebook groups can provide valuable insights. You can see what's trending, what designs get the most engagement. It's really about listening to your potential customers.
Got it. And then how do we actually create the designs?
Well, there are a couple of options. You could design them yourself if you have those skills, or you could hire a designer. There are platforms like Fiverr or Upwork where you can find talented freelancers.
I've heard of those. But what if someone isn't sure about their design skills?
That's totally fine. There are also tools like Canva that are super user-friendly. They have templates specifically for print-on-demand products. You can customize them easily without needing graphic design experience.
Oh, that's a great tip. So after the designs are ready, what's next?
The next step is choosing a print-on-demand platform. There are several out there, like Printful, Teespring, or Printify. You'll want to compare them based on pricing, product quality, and shipping times.
I can see how that would be important. You definitely don't want unhappy customers because of slow shipping or poor quality, right?
Exactly. And once you choose a platform, you'll need to set up your online store. You can do this through sites like Shopify or Etsy.
Shopify is popular, right? I think I've heard a lot about it.
Yes, it really is. It's quite user-friendly. You can customize your store, add your products, and even integrate with your print-on-demand service, which makes everything smoother.
Okay, so we've got our niche, designs, and store set up. What's next in the process?
At this point, it's time to focus on marketing your products. Social media advertising can be effective. You could also use content marketing, like starting a blog or creating videos related to your niche.
That sounds like a good way to build an audience. But, is there a specific strategy for social media?
Yes. Start by posting consistently. Use engaging visuals, share customer testimonials, and interact with your audience. Building that relationship is key. You want your audience to feel connected to your brand.
Right, and I guess using hashtags related to your niche can help reach more people too.
Absolutely. Hashtags can broaden your reach, and don't forget about collaborating with influencers in your niche. That can bring in new customers who trust those influencers, recommendations.
Wow, that's a smart strategy. So once the sales start rolling in, how do you handle the financial side of things?
Oh, that's crucial. You'll want to keep track of your income and expenses from the get-go. Using accounting software like QuickBooks or even a simple spreadsheet can help you stay organized.
Yeah, I imagine that would save a lot of headaches later on.
Definitely. And set aside some money for taxes. That's a common mistake. You don't want to be surprised at tax time, right?
Oh, for sure. It's about planning ahead.
Exactly. And as you grow, consider reinvesting some of your profits back into the business, whether that's for more marketing or expanding your product line.
That makes sense. So it's all about building momentum.
Yes, and remember to track your metrics, like sales numbers and customer feedback. It helps you understand what's working and what needs tweaking.
Speaking of tweaking, are there any common pitfalls to watch out for?
Oh, definitely. One big pitfall is not doing enough market research. Launching a product without understanding your audience can lead to poor sales.
Yikes! That sounds painful.
It can be. Another common mistake is underestimating the importance of quality. You want your products to reflect your brand's values. Poor quality can hurt your reputation.
Got it. And I guess staying consistent with marketing is important too, right?
Absolutely. People often underestimate how long it takes to build an audience and trust. Consistency is key.
Wow, this is really helpful, Alex. I feel like I have a much clearer picture of how to get started with a print-on-demand business.
I'm glad to hear that, Jordan. Remember, it's all about taking it one step at a time. And don't hesitate to seek help or advice along the way.
Thanks, Alex. I can't wait to dive into this more. So, Alex, let's dive into some of the common pitfalls people encounter when starting a print-on-demand business.
Absolutely, Jordan. It's a really exciting area, but, it can also be pretty tricky if you're not careful.
Right? Like, I think a lot of folks don't realize how important it is to really research their niche before diving in.
Exactly. I've seen people jump in thinking, oh, I love this design, but they haven't checked if anyone else is actually buying it.
Yeah, that's a huge mistake. You might have the coolest idea, but if there's no market for it, it's like shouting into a void.
And then they often invest a lot of time and money into creating products that just don't sell.
And that can be really disheartening. I remember talking to someone who spent months designing a whole collection and, well, they barely sold anything.
Oh, that's tough. It's a classic case of, not validating the idea first.
So how can someone avoid that kind of mistake?
Well, I always recommend starting with some market research. Look at what's trending, see what's popular on platforms like Etsy or Redbubble, and maybe even check out social media for inspiration.
Right. And I guess it could also engage with potential customers, like asking for feedback on their designs before launching, right?
Yes, getting that early feedback can be invaluable. It helps you pivot if needed before you go all in.
Another pitfall I see is underestimating the importance of quality. People often rush to produce without really considering, the materials and printing methods.
Oh, definitely. I had a client once who chose a really cheap printing service to save costs, and their products ended up looking awful.
That's a bummer. I mean, it's like you're setting yourself up for failure if your product quality isn't up to par.
Exactly. You want your customers to feel good about their purchase. If they receive something that looks cheap, they're not coming back, and they might even leave a bad review.
Yeah, that reputation can really stick. So it's worth investing in quality from the start.
For sure. And speaking of bad reviews, another common mistake is not having a solid return policy in place.
Oh, that's a big one. Customers want to feel secure when they buy something online, right?
Absolutely. If they don't feel confident about returns, they might just skip your shop altogether.
I heard of a seller who didn't offer returns and, well, they lost a lot of potential customers because of it.
Right. And it's not just about the returns. It's also about customer service. If someone has a question and you don't respond in a timely manner, that can create frustration.
Communication is key. It's all about building trust.
Exactly. And another mistake I see is trying to do everything yourself.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. It's easy to think, I can handle it all, but then you get overwhelmed.
You can't do it all, and that's okay. Hiring help, even if it's just for a few hours a week, can really lighten the load.
Right? Whether it's design work, marketing, or even customer service, it can make a huge difference.
Yes, and it allows you to focus on the parts of the business that you really enjoy, which keeps your motivation up.
So true. And on that note, I think some people also underestimate the power of effective marketing.
Oh, for sure. You can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows about it...
Exactly. I think social media is a great tool, but it can also be overwhelming if you don't know where to start.
And that's why having a clear strategy is so important. You don't need to be everywhere, but you do need to be where your audience is.
And sticking to a consistent posting schedule can help build that presence.
Right. And remember, it's not just about selling. It's about engaging with your audience, too.
Yeah, creating a community around your brand can really help with loyalty and repeat customers.
Absolutely. And speaking of loyalty, another pitfall is not focusing on customer retention.
Oh, that's a good one. It's easy to get caught up in chasing new customers, but what about the ones who've already bought from you?
Exactly. Building long-term relationships with your customers can lead to repeat business, which is often easier than constantly finding new customers.
So maybe a loyalty program or even just sending thank you notes could go a long way.
Yes, little gestures can make a big difference and help customers feel appreciated.
And I think it's important to keep an eye on your finances throughout all this.
Oh, absolutely. Many people overlook their cash flow, and that can be dangerous.
Right? Like, if you're not tracking your expenses and income, you might find yourself in a tight spot.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of businesses can fail. It's vital to have a budget and stick to it.
So checking in regularly on your financials can really help avoid any surprises down the road.
Definitely. And if you notice any warning signs, like consistent losses or declining sales, it's time to reevaluate your strategy.
So Alex, what's the takeaway for someone starting a print-on-demand business?
Well, I'd say do your research, focus on quality, engage with your customers, and keep an eye on your finances.
And be willing to adapt when things aren't working, right?
Exactly. It's all about learning from mistakes and continuously improving.
Great advice. And for anyone listening, if you find yourself facing challenges, remember, it's part of the journey.
Yes, every setback can be a setup for a comeback. Just take it one step at a time.
Perfectly said, Alex. So let's transition to the next steps. Okay, Alex, so we've talked a lot about the ins and outs of print-on-demand businesses, right? But let's get into the nitty-gritty of what people can actually do, like right now.
Absolutely, Jordan. It's all about taking those first steps, you know? It can feel overwhelming, but breaking it down makes it much more manageable.
Right, so what's the first thing folks should do if they're, ready to dive in?
Well, I'd say start with some market research. Spend a little time on platforms like Pinterest or Instagram to see what's trending, you know? Just, look at what designs catch your eye.
That makes sense. It's like, you want to know what people are buying before you jump in?
Exactly. And then, once you have an idea of what's popular, think about your own interests. What are you passionate about? That's where you can really stand out.
Yeah, I love that idea. So, how should they actually get started with designing their products?
Good question. There are a bunch of design tools out there. I recommend starting with Canva. It's user-friendly, and you can create some pretty cool designs without needing to be a graphic designer.
Oh, I've heard of Canva. So they can just, drag and drop their ideas into templates, right?
Exactly. And the great thing is, they have a ton of templates specifically for t-shirts, mugs, and other products. You can customize them to fit your style.
Awesome. And what about the actual print-on-demand services? Which ones should they consider?
Well, a couple of popular ones are Printful and Teespring. They integrate nicely with online stores, so once you design your items, you can upload them directly and start selling.
Okay, so it's pretty seamless, right? But what if someone's just not sure about their designs? What if they're worried about not having that creative spark?
Totally understandable, Jordan. I'd suggest starting small. Maybe create just a couple of designs based on your market research, and then, test them out.
Yeah, that way they're not investing too much at once.
Exactly. And remember, it's all about feedback. Share your designs with friends or family and see what they think. Their input can really help refine your ideas.
Great tip. And what about the business side of things? Should they be keeping track of their finances from the get-go?
Oh, definitely. Establishing good habits early is key. You might want to use tools like QuickBooks or Wave to keep track of your expenses and sales.
Right? So they can see what's working and what's not, and adjust accordingly.
Exactly. And And I'd also recommend setting aside a specific budget for your business. This way, you won't overspend while you're still figuring things out.
That's smart. So, like, if they have a budget in mind, it helps them stay focused and not get too carried away.
For sure. And speaking of focus, developing a routine can really help. Try to dedicate a few hours each week to your business, whether it's designing, marketing, or just brainstorming new ideas.
I like that. So it's about consistency, right?
Absolutely. Even an hour or two a week can add up over time, and it keeps you in that creative mindset.
And what about marketing? Should they be thinking about that right away?
Yes, starting to build your brand and presence is important. Social media platforms are great for this. You can start by creating an Instagram account or a Facebook page to showcase your designs.
That's a good point. Engaging with followers can really help build a community around their brand.
Exactly. And don't forget about email marketing. Tools like MailChimp can help you set up a mailing list. It's a fantastic way to keep your audience updated on new products.
Wow, there's so much they can do. And what about books or resources? Any recommendations for those just getting started?
Sure. I'd recommend The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. It offers a great perspective on starting small and iterating based on feedback.
Ooh, I like that. It's all about learning and adapting, right?
Exactly. And there's also Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk, which dives into building a personal brand and using social media effectively.
Those sound like great reads. So to recap, they should start with market research, choose a design tool like Canva, and pick a print-on-demand service, right?
Yep. And don't forget to set a budget, track finances, and develop a consistent routine. And, of course, build that online presence through social media and email marketing.
Perfect. It sounds like a lot, but breaking it down into those steps makes it feel doable, right?
Exactly. Just take it one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll have a foundation for your business.
I love it. So before we wrap up, any last words of encouragement for our listeners thinking about starting their print-on-demand journey?
Just remember, every big journey starts with a single step. Trust yourself, stay curious, and embrace the learning process.
That's such a great mindset to have. Okay, folks, you've got your action plan. So go out there and start creating.
Absolutely. We're rooting for you.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Until next time, take care and happy creating. Wow, what a journey we've had today, right?
Absolutely, Jordan. I mean, we really covered some important points, like how print on demand can be a low-risk way to start a business, you know?
Right. And I loved how we talked about finding your niche. It's so crucial to stand out in that market.
Exactly. And then there's the importance of quality design, right? You really want to create something that resonates with your audience.
Yeah, I think we also touched on the significance of marketing. Like, without a solid marketing plan, even the best products can get lost.
For sure. And let's not forget about the potential for passive income. That's such a game changer for many folks.
It really is. So, to wrap it up, if you're over 40 and thinking about diving into print on demand, remember to find your niche, focus on quality, plan your marketing, and think long-term about your income.
Well said, Jordan. And, you know, it's never too late to start something new. Just take that first step.
Absolutely. If you found today's episode helpful, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment.
Yes, please share your thoughts or any experiences you've had with print on demand.
And don't forget to share this with someone who's over 40 and looking for new opportunities. They might really benefit from it.
And next time, we're diving into high-yield savings accounts.
Ooh, that's going to be exciting. We'll explore how to make your money work harder for you.
Can't wait for that conversation.
Me neither. Until then, take care of yourselves, everyone.
Yes, stay curious and keep learning.
Bye for now.
Bye.